Happy Halloween, everybody. And before I begin, I want to send a special thank you to Zeb from Cool Collectibles, who keeps sending me cool stuff in appreciation of videos that I've made. And very recently, he sent me these Funko Pops from Werewolf by Night. He and his cohorts over at his collectible store enjoyed my Werewolf by Night honest review so much that they sent me these wonderful Funkos, and I love them. So thank you, Zeb, and everybody who works at your store. Now, on that subject, when I released that video and I talked about Werewolf by Night, one of the many things that I said was that I lamented how Marvel Studios didn't make the Halloween special a yearly tradition since Werewolf by Night was so great. And I was very surprised to see that a lot of you shared the same sentiment. You want either a continuation to Werewolf by Night or a yearly Marvel Studios Halloween special on Disney Plus. And because Marvel has, as I pointed out in the video, Marvel has a very strong and rich tradition in horror, and in publishing and creating monster characters and monster books. So there is a whole corner of the Marvel universe that Marvel Studios has only scratched the surface of. And I think that the reason why they've been so gun shy into delving into the paranormal side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is because I feel like Blade is the franchise that they wanted to use to as a gateway into that particular area of Marvel, but because that has been delayed over and over again, maybe that's why they've been so hesitant. But that's not the point. Here's the thing. So they seem to be taking their sweet time with these specials. So why not take matters into my own hands and pitch what I think should be one of their Halloween specials? Now, please keep in mind that everything that I'm about to say is completely made up. It is fan fiction. So if you disagree, I especially encourage you to voice your opinion in the comment section below. That none of this, I usually delve in facts, but not in this video. This is strictly fan fiction for your enjoyment. And if you don't like any of the things that I say, and if you disagree, feel free to say so. I welcome it. Like I said, these are not facts. This is just some silly fan fiction for fun. Also, I am fully aware that in the extreme and improbable scenario in which somebody from Marvel Studios were to see this video and like it, that they wouldn't be able to legally use my ideas. And that's perfectly fine. I don't want them to use my ideas. My challenge to them is whatever I say, even if it's good, my challenge to them is to do it better. They are the biggest franchise out right now, the most successful franchise. They should be able to make something 10 billion times better than what I'm about to say. There you go. Anyway, so here we go. This is my pitch for a future Marvel Studios Disney Plus Halloween special. Now, I would do a 4-part miniseries, just like what they did with Marvel Zombies. However, I would do a very loose adaptation of Strange Tales. Now, what is Strange Tales? Strange Tales was an anthology horror series that Marvel used to have, and at one point, they had Doctor Strange be the omniscient host of Strange Tales. Basically, the person who was telling all these different horror or paranormal stories in each issue. And then later, Steve Ditko took Doctor Strange and turned him into this character, the Sorcerer Supreme, the paranormal hero of the Marvel Universe. But originally, that's what he was. He was a very, very overt reference to all these PBS specials that Vincent Price used to do, where he used to basically host horror movies or mystery movies. Um, so, yes, I would do a loose adaptation of Strange Tales, have it be 4 episodes, and each episode be a completely different story, anthology series style, very much like The Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt, and being, of course, being hosted by Doctor Strange, just like the comic book. Have Benedict Cumberbatch bookend each episode as Doctor Strange in the Sanctum Sanctorum, taking an artifact off of one of his shelves and telling us the story linked to that artifact. So, what would my 4 chapters, my 4 little stories be? Story number 1, Hunt for the Man-Thing. So yeah, very much a sequel to Werewolf by Night. There's going to be a lot of Werewolf by Night references here. And I would do this, I would make it very much a parody of all those terrible found footage movies that are on Tubi right now. They're a lot of fun though, but my God, most of them are really, really bad. And I would have it be a bunch of kooky teenagers trying to make a documentary about Man-Thing, whether or not Man-Thing is real, searching for the creature, and they run into some trouble. Their RV almost goes off a cliff, and they are rescued by Ted. And one of the teens that is searching for Man-Thing is none other than Miko Minoru, who is a witch, and the whole experience awakens her latent witch powers. And yes, I know that Miko is already in the Runaways. It's not entirely sure how that whether that is canon or not. And hey, I wouldn't mind it if the same actress from Runaways played the character in the special, FYI. But with her awakened witch powers, of course, there's a huge misunderstanding. Nobody is sure whether Man-Thing is a hero or a monster, and she would be the one to accidentally send Ted to Sakaar, where he would go on to become one of the champions of the arena. Chapter 2, the vampire virus. So there is this mysterious disease going on in New York that has a lot of attributes in common with vampirism. So Elsa Bloodstone shows up with a whole new batch of death dealers that she has recruited, really young ones, to find out what the heck is happening here and what is this vampiric virus that's spreading throughout New York. And there's one of the professors from university is specifically being targeted as the main suspect for this virus. Well, as it turns out, it is most definitely a vampire spreading the virus. It is just a new strain of vampirism, not the traditional kind that Elsa or the other younger death dealers that are with her have seen before. It's a new strain because of the source of the virus. And as it would have turned out, Barrasso from Werewolf by Night would have survived the epic brawl that they had at the Bloodstone Manor. If you remember, Elsa dispatched him by knocking him over, and she had her sword next to his throat, so when he fell, he slit his throat and landed. But then she told her butler to clean everything up and dispose of the bodies. So what I'm thinking is that whatever service that they would have had to come and clean up and take all those bodies away would have been pretty shady. And because the Bloodstones are a bunch of hypocrites, they probably would have dealt with vampires. Vampires to dispose of the body. Who would want all those bodies and all that blood? Vampires. And in the process of either draining him or transporting him or disposing of the body, one of the vampires that are part of the cleanup crew would have accidentally infected Barrasso and turned him into this new strain of vampire that is affecting all these people in New York as he's trying to get away. But Elsa's in luck because the professor that's being accused of all the spreading the virus and all that is none other than Michael Morbius, not played by Jared Leto, played by somebody else, preferably Ben Barnes, who played Jigsaw in The Punisher. And before anybody says, "Oh, he already played a character in the MCU," yeah, on The Punisher, Evan Moss Bacharach played Microchip, and now he's playing the Thing on Fantastic Four. So there you go. But a different actor as Morbius, somebody better. And yeah, and the reason the strain is different is because Barrasso came to New York to try to cure himself and try to use one of the many serums and methods that Michael Morbius is trying to use to cure himself, and accidentally mutated himself, and now he's a whole new strain of vampire. So there you go. Chapter 3, Demon Hunt. So we move away from the Werewolf by Night characters, and we do something really different in the penultimate chapter of this 4-part miniseries, where we have this poor, disheveled, bearded drifter who claims that he's being chased by a demon, and he's been traveling cross country trying to get away from this unstoppable force that's after him, and nobody believes him. But everywhere he goes, lots of people die, lots of carnage, and it's not his fault. And when it happens, when it strikes, he has to move on to the next part, to the next place, with this alleged demon that is chasing after him. So eventually, our hero gets tired. He's just tired. He's been running from this thing for weeks at this point, and he is at his last straw. So he chooses this secluded junkyard to have his encounter, his final encounter with this demon who turns out to be Chthon, one of the main demonic supervillains of the Marvel Universe. And the Drifter just, essentially just gives in. He's just waiting for Chthon to take him out. Chthon finally shows up, and the Drifter is actually Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider. And it was all a trap for Chthon. And the reason he lured him to that particular junkyard was because that's where he left his motorcycle. So Ghost Rider gets on his motorcycle, fires up, and they have an epic brawl in the junkyard, and which would be the perfect final big exciting moment before we go into the final chapter. Chapter 4, Monster Brawl. So yes, of course, the final chapter would be the one that we all want to see what happened in Sakaar with Ted and how Ted became a champion. However, twist, the Grandmaster is not the one running the games at that point. It's somebody else that was running Sakaar before the Grandmaster. And that person's identity would be kept a secret all the way to the end. And of course, like I've suggested, and many people have suggested before me, Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, would go to Sakaar to save Ted. He would get there with the help of Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme. So he would go to Wong. Of course, he's in charge of all crazy paranormal things. And Wong would open up a portal, and they would go and rescue Ted. And of course, they would have to brawl with a few monsters in the arena in order to get Ted out. I would use assets that already existed, monsters that we've already seen in past Marvel Studios installments, like the Ice Beast from Thor, or Shimagoroth from the beginning of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And the final boss would be the guy running the games, who would turn out to be Mojo. Oh yeah, the first live-action appearance of Mojo, running the games in Sakaar. And of course, he is defeated by Ted, Jack, and Wong, and that's when he's usurped from power. The Grandmaster takes the crown, takes the throne, and he becomes the leader in Sakaar. And of course, the whole 4-part special would end full circle with, we cut back to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where Doctor Strange is telling his stories, and all of a sudden there would be a knock on the door, and Wong would show up with Jack Russell, Ted, and Elsa Bloodstone. and Doctor Strange would say something along the lines of, "Oh, I have one more guest that I invited to the party," and that final guest would be Johnny Blaze, and they are putting the Midnight Suns together. And there you go. That's my pitch for my ideal Marvel Studios / Disney Plus Halloween special. Agree, disagree, have a better idea? Say so. Please say so. Be creative. Enjoy yourselves. Have fun. This is just for fun. Don't worry about insulting me or anything like that. I don't care. I just want to put this out there. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I hope that Marvel Studios does something a million times better, blows my idea over the water, be it a special on Disney Plus or better yet, a movie. Make movies, guys. You're good at it. Anyway, there you go. And now let's close this out with everybody's favorite part of the video, the announcements. Right now, on my Patreon page, we're going to keep this Halloween celebration going with my top 10 Halloween movie recommendations for 2025. This is a yearly tradition. I do this every year. I recommend some horror movies or Halloween-themed movies for you guys to check out. And I always get some really good feedback, and you guys also recommend me some cool movies. So if you want to check out that video, but you're not a patron, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/erod and pledge $1. That's it. You pledge $1 and you're helping me to continue to create content, and in return, you get bonus videos. You can't beat that with a wooden stick. And last but not least, my next honest review. Next month, in just a few short weeks, on this very channel, I'm going to do a re-review. Excuse me. I've reviewed this in the past, but I'm going to do it again with a fresh perspective because things have changed a little bit. So I'm going to do a brand new, fresh review of Tron Uprising. Yeah, Tron needs to be a major topic right now. I was going to review that show last month, but then because the Tron Ares was coming out, but then when I found out the certain cast members that are in the movie, I decided not to because I didn't want to promote it by accident. But the movie has bombed miserably, and now Disney apparently is retiring the Tron franchise for some time, at least cinematically, which I think is ridiculous. It's not the franchise's problem, it's who they casted in the movie. So I want to do this video, I want to do this review to remind everyone that there are versions of Tron out there that are great, that this franchise is great and it's worth checking out. So I'm doing a re-review, an honest review of my favorite installment of the Tron franchise. So, like I said, in a few short weeks, don't miss it, honest review of Tron Uprising right here on this channel. Thank you so much for your ongoing support because I could not do what I do without you.